The initial haunted house featured is Dead of Nights, once operated by the Chamber of Horrors on Long Island, New York, until its closure in 2015. Renowned as one of New York's most intense haunted attractions, it boasted a terrifying opening sequence that left many shaken. Patrons queued up, listening to a soothing pre-recorded message reassuring them of their safety, emphasizing that nothing encountered within was real. In Chicago, Illinois, there exists a haunted house known as Miasma, reputed to be as extreme, if not more so, than Dead of Night. Accessible only to individuals aged 18 and above, Miasma imposes strict solo entry requirements. Upon arrival, patrons are subjected to various intense experiences, including restraint, blindfolding, being smeared with fake blood, and enduring physical contact. Invitations to Miasma are exclusive, with recipients receiving vague yet explicit instructions via email, emphasizing the importance of secrecy regarding the location and attending alone and punctually. Disregarding these instructions results in immediate termination of the experience. Furthermore, guests are instructed not to disclose any details of their encounter, making it challenging to obtain comprehensive information about the attraction. Nevertheless, certain visitors have recounted their ordeals at Miasma as involving physical pain, resulting in claw marks on their bodies, alongside psychological torment, emotional anguish, and frequent displays of violence. The experience at Miasma can be physically grueling, requiring patrons to navigate cramped spaces and endure demanding physical challenges. One patron even reported becoming so immersed in the experience that she momentarily forgot she was in a haunted house, feeling genuinely threatened and opting to leave. The location of Miasma remains undisclosed until 24 hours before the scheduled visit, with claims that it frequently changes. Additionally, Scarehouse, located in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, previously featured an underground attraction known as The Basement, which offered a more intense, immersive, and interactive experience compared to its upstairs counterpart. This attraction was held within a nearly century-old historic building with a reputed haunted history. Since the onset of COVID, the attraction has been closed, but there are rumors of its imminent return. While guests are permitted to enter in pairs or alone, it's uncommon for individuals to brave the experience solo. The actors within the haunted house are known for their convincing performances, employing improvisation and dialogue to create an immersive horror movie-like atmosphere. Visitors are guaranteed to encounter actors throughout, with physical contact, sexual undertones, real electric shocks, religious motifs, and cramped spaces among the elements featured. As with many attractions discussed in this video, guests must sign a waiver before entering, acknowledging the potentially disturbing nature of the experience. The attraction even provides a safe word for guests to use if they feel violated or excessively uncomfortable during their visit. The Colts, situated in North Conway, New Hampshire, was touted as the pinnacle of terror, catering exclusively to dedicated horror enthusiasts seeking a genuine fright. This hour-long attraction demanded solitary exploration, with no group admittance permitted. Participants braved encounters with intense violence and frequent physical contact from actors. Before entering, a gatekeeper questioned nervous patrons about their tolerance for various fears, including darkness, heights, claustrophobia, and exposure to creatures like eels, rats, bugs, and needles, as well as being fully submerged in water. Armed with a red safety card on a lanyard, patrons had the option to terminate the experience by surrendering their pass if it became too overwhelming. Visitors to the Colts were directed onto a chairlift, transporting them to a dirt path leading to a cabin, where they encountered an aggressive man who subjected them to physical mistreatment, including shoving them into a booth, yelling, and dousing them with unknown substances before covering their heads with a bag and continuing the ordeal outdoors. The torment intensified as patrons progressed, encountering live animals like snakes and cockroaches, as well as being coerced into consuming items like animal urine, alongside instances of extreme violence. The attraction closed in 2013. Meanwhile, the Blackout Haunted House, with locations in New York and California, featured similarly intense experiences, including violence, nudity, forced consumption, immersion in water, physical contact, and mandatory solo entry. Visitors to Blackout experienced intense scenarios, including being abducted in vans, waterboarded, and subjected to being rolled naked in plastic sheets before being compelled to walk barefoot through a dark hallway. In one scene, involving a tall figure and a frail woman, the details were too explicit to describe, likely leading to age restrictions on the content. The attraction relied on darkness, loud noises, violence, and sexual situations to evoke fear in its patrons until approximately 2015, when it began allowing group entry alongside solo visits. However, Blackout has not operated for the past 2 seasons. Another attraction, Victim Experience 3 in Las Vegas, subjected participants to prolonged submersion in water, electric shocks, and extreme physical contact. The Victim Experience offers an exceptionally intense ordeal, strictly for solo participants. One visitor recounted a harrowing incident where an assailant suddenly emerged, seizing their companion by the foot, dragging them down a dark hallway as they screamed. Left alone in the darkness, the attacker returned for the witness, throwing them over their shoulder. Throughout the experience, patrons are subjected to electric shocks and prolonged submersion underwater, simulating near-drowning sensations. As the name suggests, participants emerge from the experience feeling like victims, having endured pain, restraint, and potential physical aggression. Freakling Bras operates 3 haunted houses annually: Castle Vampire Circus of Horrors, Gates of Hell, and another unnamed attraction. The Gates of Hell gained notoriety as one of the earliest haunted houses in the nation to receive an R rating for its explicit content, restricting entry to those over 18 who must sign a waiver. Within this attraction lies the Victim Experience, which offers a simulation of hellish scenarios, touching on themes of death and damnation. While maintaining discretion, patrons are subjected to uncomfortable situations, including physical contact, kneeling, and various discomforting experiences. The Raven's Nest, a lesser-known extreme haunted house, closed its doors in 2009 after being deemed excessively extreme by local authorities. Actors within the Raven's Nest were hired to inflict pain and humiliation on patrons, with owner Mike McNair often selecting larger, more imposing individuals capable of physically intimidating or manipulating visitors. In addition to physical aggression, visitors were subjected to degrading tasks such as licking the floor, consuming unsavory substances, and enduring attempts to induce vomiting by actors. The Raven's Nest also exploited claustrophobia, with patrons navigating through air vents containing live cockroaches and spiders, along with narrow and confining spaces throughout. The absence of a safe word likely contributed to the eventual closure of the attraction. Lastly, McCamey Manor, located in San Diego, is not akin to traditional haunted house attractions and stands apart in its extreme nature. This place tops the list because it tends to use extreme scare tactics that are off-limits to professional attractions. It also can't be said that what goes on in this place is safe. Participants are covered in blood, forced to eat disgusting things, threatened with power tools stuffed in a clothes dryer, submerged in water for extended periods, physically assaulted, and even given an unwanted haircut. Participants often leave covered in blood, commonly their own, and so far nobody has made it through to the end. There used to be no safe word, and they would only pull the plug when medically necessary. This establishment exploits various phobias including claustrophobia, arachnophobia, and coulrophobia, among others. The experience, lasting up to 10 hours, remains uncompleted by any participant. Initially lacking a safe word, one was later introduced due to legal requirements, though its effectiveness has been questioned as the torture persists for many despite its use. McCamey Manor faced criticism regarding its $20,000 cash prize offered to those who completed the experience, with skepticism surrounding whether anyone would be allowed to claim it. Workers at McCamey Manor often decide to end the experience for patrons, even if the patron desires to continue. Despite self-description as an attraction for extreme horror enthusiasts, there is significant interest, evidenced by a waiting list of over 20,000 people. However, a Change.org petition calling for the closure of McCamey Manor has gathered over 180,000 signatures, reflecting widespread condemnation of the establishment. Many view it not as a haunted house, but as a disguised torture chamber, a sentiment amplified by the extensive 40-page waiver, which contains questionable elements, such as misspelled words intended to nullify certain clauses. Regardless of individual opinions, McCamey Manor is widely regarded as an extreme horror attraction that crosses ethical boundaries.